Hello, beauties. Welcome to In the Good. I'm Kristen, and this is our weekly conversation around love. The love you bring to yourself, the investigation and curiosity of love in your life, love you want to bring in, love that you're playing with now. So let's take a look. What needs to come to light? What is hidden? What lies beneath? What are the validations that we need to hear? Where's the trusting of our own intuition? What's lit up? Where can the light be shown? Okay. All right, so we have waiting. So what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for someone to reach out? For someone to initiate something? Are you waiting for something new to come in? Are you waiting for something old to shift? What are you waiting for? In comparison. So stop comparing yourself to what you think that you should be as a partner, or stop comparing someone to what you think they should be. Accept yourself for who you are, accept them for who they are. And this is regardless of whatever stage of their relationship. You've been on one date, you're just chatting, you've known each other for years, you're coming back together, you're married. We often have these ideas, these thoughts stuck in our mind based on, a lot of times evidence of the past, of what we've been through, certain dramas, traumas that we bring into our current love situation, how we feel about being in love, or the relationships that we're in. And so we think that we should be a certain way, or that we should want certain things, or we should want relationships to be a certain way, as opposed to or we're comparing ourselves to what our friends have or our family have, or this societal pressure, as opposed to what we want to bring in. There's also here, for some of you out there, and you'll know if this is you, that you are comparing someone else with what you want them to be or what they have been. Because people evolve and change, and it's interesting when intimacy and sexuality and attraction and chemistry come into the picture, as intimacy comes into the picture, as there's more depth, how people react to the stirrings of desire within them and the stirrings of what could be. And perhaps you're with somebody who's comparing how their other relationships and past things that haven't worked out, and kind of comparing who they were then with who they are now, and what they wanted then and what they want now. And so comparisons everywhere. We've got comparisons. We're comparing ourselves, we're comparing them. They're comparing themselves to their past relationships. Do you feel like you're comparing, they're comparing you to someone else? I had a terrible marriage and divorce, or this horrible long-term relationship, and she was expecting this of me, or he was wanting that and couldn't get it. And it's like all this comparison, as opposed to just sort of being. And a lot of it is a distraction of the fear of love, and the fear of intimacy, and the fear of, if I go deep with someone and I am vulnerable and I allow myself to fall, that I will get hurt. And there's no avoiding that. It's always about the risk that we need to take. And sometimes we're in a place where we want to take a risk and the other person isn't quite there. And then we're sort of left waiting, right? We're waiting for them to feel better about themselves. We're waiting for them to close up other chapters of their lives. We're waiting for them to recognize that they miss you. Did it ever occur to you they probably do miss you and think about you, and for whatever reason they're not making the move? And for some of you, it's, why are you waiting for them to make the move? Like, that's the appropriate thing. It's like, should I reach out to them? Should I just kind of go radio silent if they're going radio silent? If I reach out to them, will that make me look desperate? Will that make me look like, oh, they're gonna know I'm thinking about them if I reach out? And if you're doing something from a place of what truly feels right for you, not having an agenda, not trying to expect anything, then anything that you choose to do or not to do is going to be fine. If you're wanting to reach out, what are you waiting for? Are you comparing yourself with a different version of yourself that used to be a little bit more having an agenda, a little bit more needy, and maybe would reach out because I want to show you I'm thinking about you. I want to show you that I'm not like that other person. Or, oh, let me just reach out and see what happens. No need to compare yourself to another version of yourself that you're not. Are you waiting to catch up to the fact that maybe you don't care? That you're not interested in playing a waiting game? That you're actually okay, albeit a little disappointed or frustrated, but you're actually totally grounded and okay with the fact that you're frustrated and a little disappointed. Like you're not, like, are you waiting for the old reaction where you're full of anxiety or you're really angry, or are you waiting for that when really you just feel still within yourself and at peace and okay with going through a process of, I didn't get what I wanted and there are feelings around that, and I'm okay because if things are meant to work out, they will, and I'm not sitting around waiting. I'm living my life. Interesting start. How are you doing? If you are resonating so far, please give me a thumbs up. It would mean the world to me. And if you're enjoying these readings, I hope that you will consider joining the community and subscribing. I would love to connect with you more. Okay. What else? I'm going to use this tarot, actually. This one wants to be used. Okay. What other messages? What do we need to know? What's up? So the 10 of Wands. So this is that being tired of, perhaps when I see the 10, I think of, you've changed a lot in the last decade. It's recognizing that you've become the adult. And you want to take all the wisdom and the knowledge, hard fought through all the different things you've been through in all your relationships. The disappointments, the traumatic moments, and integrating all of those lessons and processing them and bringing them to the home that you're creating with yourself, the home that you want to share with the beloved. You have a lot of fire energy here. And so it's also taking all of our experiences, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, passionate, sexy, romantic, ambiguous, fleeting, committed, and wanting, they're like the branches that stokes the fire of what you're creating next, of what you're wanting to create next. And you are willing to wait for the thing that is going to feel most at home to you. You're willing to wait for that person that's going to create a space and a container that you both have together that is very delicious, very warm, very safe, that's very held. I'm hearing slow burn, and it's like wanting to appreciate a slow approach where pauses aren't taken in between all the different moments, all the different, all the time spent together. to really get to know. To come to the table together wanting to create something very sustainable, like a fire that stays burning, that warms up the entire house. It's not like throwing a match on it and then it like goes and then out. But how do we stoke this fire in every aspect of our lives as a couple together, or wanting to find that? How do I create that with the next person? With the Queen of Cups, getting comfortable with your emotions. But this Queen of Cups, she steps a foot in. She can have this part of her that is very protective of her emotions, and learning to go slow, to create a sense of safety within myself, so that I know what I'm stepping into. And that, okay, I can take this step. Okay, now I can take that step. It's not kind of, tossing yourself into the throes of passion. And that doesn't necessarily mean not getting physical. It means getting caught up in an emotional whirlwind that can feel very overwhelming and feel like you're carrying a lot of burdens emotionally. But taking the time to make sure that you are nourished and that you have enough in your own cup emotionally to be able to have the stamina to be able to give to yourself and to someone else. And looking for someone who is drinking out of their own cup as well. It's hard to really have the Two of Cups where you're exchanging cups. If you're so running on empty, you're drinking everything. You need it all. You need it all. And then there's nothing left to give to somebody else. And you could be waiting for someone who is just taking a lot for themselves right now for whatever reason. There's nothing in their cup to offer right now, and to not go into a compare and despair around not feeling good enough, or I wasn't good enough, or it's usually about them. It's most of the time it's never personal. It's usually something the other person is going through, or something that they're recognizing within themselves. And sometimes it's, we don't know what we want until we spend time with people. Sometimes, or you don't really know someone until you know someone. And it's not personal. And the same thing goes your way. You don't want to fit something in because, you like the idea of a person, or, they fit a certain image, but, they're not doing it for you emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, physically. Or it's physical. The physical is great, but emotionally it's not great. Or intellectually it's fantastic and they're secure and you feel safe, but then the physical stuff isn't there. And you find it's like you need to be able to wait for, that sustainable fire where you're having all of your needs met. And knowing that, to not compare yourself with people that they look like they've got it all from the outside, because I think we all know by now that a lot of times things look a certain way on the outside and it's not the reality. Interesting, because we have this bamboo and what looks like to be, I'm going to call it an oak tree, but a very, the bamboo is very flexible and bendable, and the oak tree, this kind of tree here, it's grounded. It's stable, it's immovable, and you need both, right? You need the structure, you need the willingness to have discipline around what you've decided to compromise with each other over. You need the stability and safety, but also the ability to bend and be in flow. That's the creation energy in a relationship, and a passionate relationship, and something that's committed and sustainable comes from the two together. And often one person can have one more than the other. But it's about also learning how to be more stable for some of you in partnership, to bring in somebody. If you are very fluid and bendable, you want to bring in somebody who's more grounded. And if you are somebody who's like a little bit rigid or whatever, that's great too. I mean, there's like, to have that structure, it'd be like this. And I mean, there's a beauty in that too, but wanting to bring in a person that, can teach you about being a little bit more flexible in flow, in the sensual. The Nine of Pentacles, you are your own independent person. You have agency. And that agency and that time that you have taken, this sort of waiting period where you have collected all the lessons, all the different dates, right? It's like you've got stories, right? Oh, I've got stories. Oh, I've got stories. You've got stories. I've got stories. Right? I've got more. and seeing almost the pleasure of it. I mean, yes, and sometimes the heart was broken and it had to be mended, and then there was a certain amount of resiliency and things that we learned about ourselves going into the shadow of love and intimacy and romance and learning and what works for us and what doesn't, and wanting something and not getting it and going through all of that, and making that, using that to create a really whole self, right? To be able to witness your own emotions and to not entangle yourself emotionally with someone else unless you feel safe. But to be soft and gentle and take that slow burn into, okay, now I feel safe to do this. Now I feel good to do this. We're not rushing. There's nowhere to rush. And with the Seven of Swords, recognizing, well, there doesn't have to be a strategy or overthinking around how to avoid things that haven't worked out in the past. Like, you have this experience. You have learned how to continue to be an emotional and feeling and sensual person who appreciates the sensory. To go deep with someone, to allow the intimacy without feeling like, is there a red flag? Like, you know yourself and need to trust yourself. And there is stability and growth. There is something new on the horizon, whether you are with someone for many years or with nobody at the moment. There is a new possibility for the seed of something new to emerge that is it's practical, it's stable, there is abundance with it. This is also not sacrificing your financial for your love life. Being able to focus on your work in the world and being with a partner that lifts you up in that way and you lift them up in that way. You're not forgetting about the practicalities of your life, the things that keep you grounded. Like, you're flying up in the air, you're so emotional and like, oh my God, it's so passionate. And yeah, it's like being able to manage your own emotions around it in a way that feels good. When to let yourself get carried away and when to just to stay grounded in that very inspired, sensual state. This is a new beginning and a new offering, regardless of where you're coming from and where you're at right now. So if you're looking, what you have been trying to create as far as something magical and stable is around the corner. But you have to be able to not necessarily be in the waiting of it, but to be living your life. And if you've got something that's just started, you might find that there is a next step there that feels a little bit more like it's manifesting here, right? This could be a reach out or a reconnection or somebody who has been going through something, who took a little bit of time off and you felt like you were waiting for them. And look, you make your decision about whether you want to reconnect with them or not, but there's something about them that feels more stable. And even if you just reconnect to do a closure, whatever it is, if you want this, but they're coming with something a little bit more solid. If you've been dating someone for a while, this is maybe deciding to do something together, take a trip together, create something together, move in together, make it official and call each other boyfriend, girlfriend, become part, something else. And if you're in committed relationship, marriage, this is having that rediscovery of what really sparks the two of you, not letting things become stagnant or overthinking. Or if someone has behaved in a way, or there have been some behaviors coming up and you've been going at each other in a certain way because of just life gets to you, it's kind of sitting down or being with each other, rediscovering the sensual aspects of your relationship, whether it's just cooking together, discovering new places together, really sitting down and deciding, okay, we're going to sit down at the end of the day, we're going to have a glass of wine or a drink or a beautiful cup of tea. We're going to sit in our backyard and we're going to reconnect. It's something new, and it could be something that you haven't ever done before, possibly because your lives have shifted a little bit. And if you have brought a baby or children, it could be, how do we design our lives in a way that who we are as a couple is nurtured by the fact that we now have children. All right. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. Please subscribe if you're feeling called. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the reading. It would mean a lot to me. I'm a new channel, and a thumbs up would really help me out a lot if that's something that you would like to do. And please check out weekly reading on Monday, weekly vibes, career reading Wednesday, love on Friday, and there are meditations on the channel as well. So I hope that you will come back whenever you want. These readings are always here for whenever you're called and whenever you need them. But I hope to see you here often. Bye.